Before we lived at the acreage we do now, we lived out here. And this was, I grew up on this property. It used to be completely overrun. I know it looks like it now, but it's definitely not. And since we moved, I tried to let this be maintained somewhat, but still go back because this is where I forage most of my wild medicinals and edibles. And today I am going to be getting some yarrow. I'm going to be getting some elder flowers. I'm going to be getting mulberry, and I am going to be getting some mullein leaves. So this is yarrow. And it looks almost like a little carrot on the leaves. The flowers have little honeycombs on them, and they tend to be really fragrant. There are some lookalikes in Queen Anne's lace and things like that. But I'm going to be harvesting some of these, and then I will show you the next. We do have a lot of yarrow here, and I am picking quite a bit of it. I utilize shears. These are troopers, but even the dollar store, Dollar Tree shears are really good and helpful. But about foraging, you don't ever really want to take more than you need. I'm going to be making a dent in these because I create remedies for myself as well as for market. And so I will use more than the average person, but there will still be heaps of these left when I walk away. And a jar graveyard with a bathtub and a mullein right beside a mulberry tree.
Spiderweb.
So along the back part of what used to be our yard, there are a lot of raspberry vines, more yarrow. There are some multiflora rose. There's an autumn olive tree, which is very, very invasive. It smells amazing in the summertime. And the berries can be made into jams or preserves after the first frost. I find them way too tart and astringent for me. Some people say that they don't have that problem. It could be soil related, everything like that. Then we have wild grape vines, which the grapes, once again, are super bitter, but they are pretty tasty in, juice or jellies or even grape preserves. And then more mulberries, because we grow great mulberries, and they're very underappreciated, so nobody really picks them. And then over in the corner is my elderberry, one of my elderberries, and that is going to show some of the really pretty blossoms that are going to be I'm going to make recipes with. And this mulberry tree is not ripe yet at all, but the one beside it is. Go figure. Look at the little bitty elderberry flowers, elder flowers. And they smell really good. And they taste really delicate. A lot of people utilize them in cordials, in meads and stuff, and I'll be making a cordial and a tincture, but they don't really have a strong flavor. So you can't really expect a lot. This is a little mullein. There was a larger one. Well, that is a larger one. And when I was mowing, I tried to leave a lot of the areas, like with, yarrow and mullein, and even clover for the bees. But this guy, I must have gotten a little too close, so I knocked him down, but he's still doing pretty good. If he manages to make it a little bit bigger, I'm going to be borrowing some leaves, not all of them. And it does not take much to make a mullein decoction. They are wonderfully medicinal for any sort of chest cold, things like that. And I think they're adorable. Well, we got back from all the foraging and getting mulberries. We ended up with 3-gallon bags of mulberries and an entire harvest basket full of yarrow, comfrey, mullein, red clover, elderberry blossoms, well, elderflowers, and then motherwort. A lot of motherwort. She's probably one of my favorite herbs. So my kitchen's not perfect at all. I'm not a cleaner by nature. I'm a hoarder, a gatherer, a cleaner not so much. But yeah, I have baskets. And then that, I just didn't even have a basket. Motherwort can be irritating to some skins, so check it out before you go and hug a whole bundle of it. My daughter doesn't like to touch it, but I mean, she's fine using the tincture. Me, I'm fine with all of it. So yeah. Right now, I utilize motherwort in a tincture, and as it is, you want to harvest her when she's flowering. She's in the mint family. There are little spikes below the flowers, and they're what can irritate you mostly. But they get hard and actually very painful when the flowers dry and she goes to seed. But anyway, for tincturing her, I go through a lot. So I use quart jars. I prefer wide mouth. These guys are narrow mouth, but I just like the ease of using wide mouth. Anyway, essentially, you want to go over the plant, remove any parts that don't look healthy, because you don't want that in your tincture. You're going to double check for any bug friends, and then you will carefully put her in the jar. And you will do this, you will fill up the jar until you can't put anything else in it. And then you will top it with, I utilize high proof vodka. So I managed to not finish filming the other day, but this is the motherwort tincture about 3 days in, and you'll notice that the vodka has definitely taken on color. The leaves and flowers have paled dramatically. Yep. It is a very bitter tincture. Like I said before, I use mine for anxiety and things like that, but I still have to chase it with water. I mean, we're talking dropperfuls of tincture. This is one of the bottles that I use. And I mean, we're talking a quarter dropper full. And I have to chase it with water because, oh, very, very bitter. I don't add anything to them. I don't add sweeteners. I leave them as they are. Here is a cleaver tincture from earlier in the spring. It didn't quite get the color of this one. And then I also have a goldenrod tincture. But I wanted to show you some finished. Well, it's not even finished. It's got another 4 or 5 weeks to go. Anyway, here it is, jarred up, tincturing away, infusing.